Hello. Hi, Joanna. Hi, Show. Tam Tam. Whoa, that was quick. Everyone's desperate for this live tonight. Amanda. Hi, Amanda. Woohoo. I'm so excited to talk to Amanda because it's just like topics that I am absolutely dying to. Hi, Michelle. Dying to talk to Amanda about. Hold on a minute. Let me let her in. She should be coming. My hair looks lovely. Oh God, you just seen it half hour ago. Hey!
I'm excited. Oh my God. Hello. I'm good, everyone. Now, listen, before we talk, I'm in a rented accommodation. I'm still in quarantine. I don't have the lovely light on my face. I'm sat in the bedroom on my kid's scruffy bed, but I'm here. Oh, there you go. I've got the sunlight on me. That's a bit better.
That's all that matters.
I got my, like, I love this milk. I've got my lippy on my cheek on my eyes. I did my Donna May.
Woohoo! I was going to ask you about makeup later, so we'll chat about your favourite products.
It's not my strength. It's not my strength.
That's all right. That's all right.
Okay, I'm going to try and keep the phone still. Okay. I'm excited to be here. Hi, everyone. Join in.
So am I. I've got because I think if I hadn't been a makeup artist or an interior designer, then my other massive interest is nutrition and fitness.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I love it. And I've read every book going, and I work out a lot, and so I'm really fascinated.
I know. Actually, I know. I was watching, and I'm good. And you embrace the strength training as well, right?
Yeah, that's mainly all I do actually now is strength training. I used to be a runner. That's gone out the window. Too bad on my joints.
Yeah. So we have a lot to talk about. I saw the questions. I'm gonna let you lead, and I'm gonna jump in if that's okay.
All right.
Yeah. I'm trying to hold it still.
Right. So first of all, I read your book. Well, I pretty much nearly read all of your book that you sent me.
Well, you've printed it out. Bloody hell! You just killed a tree.
I to print it out like I always do. He's like, "Are you joking?"
Oh my God!
So good. It's so good.
You print.
And is that out now? That's out now, isn't it?
Yeah. So someone just said the sound has gone, but I can hear you and you can hear me, right? We're fine.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
I published that book last October,
right.
And I did it both in the UK and North America, and in North America it's in Canada and the US, and it's never left the top 10 in the menopause category, which isn't a very big one. And I think the reason I think that it's there is because it's evergreen. I'm not talking about something that's going to age or date, right, Donna? Like everything in there, we're going to be talking about in 10 years time. Absolutely. And I wanted to write the book that I needed to have read. I've just turned 50, 50 and a half, like Harry Potter. And I wanted to read a book. I wanted to write the book I wish I'd had 8 or 9 years ago. That's essentially why I did it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so easy to read. I love the chapters, how to eat, how to move, all about the menopause, HRT. It's got everything. It's like the menopause Bible, isn't it?
I hope so. And it's all written in, you hear my voice, don't you, when you read it? Because I wrote it essentially like I was talking to my best mate. I wanted to be able to have something that was really palatable, because the problem I had is when I did go through perimenopause and I was trying to find books, all of them were just too meaty and too medical. And I was like, I can't do this. I'm overwhelmed. Like, I'm exhausted. I've got brain fog. Please just tell me it straight. Tell me it like my mate's telling me it over a cup of coffee. But it's also heavily researched. I was
going to say, how long did it take you to research all of that? To be able to put that in your own words and everything,
Yeah, well, over the last 6 to 8 years, I've been building a body of work. It's not like my work's just started. So I've been building a body of work. I've been doing this for 30 years, but the research into the perimenopause and menopause is over the last 8 years. And then when I wrote the book, there were definitely things that were missing. And so I reached out to the experts. I literally talked to the top menopause experts, top psychologists, registered dietitians. It's not just me spouting off all my opinions. It's, there's experts involved as well. So
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's absolutely. I love it in there where you say, like, don't let the old lady in.
Yeah. I was in the gym once. The story behind that is, if anyone hasn't read the book, and why haven't you read the book? Well, in the book, I used to go to the gym pre-COVID. And so I'm in my 40s and I do pull-ups, and I have to use a band to do them. I'm still not quite there, but I would go and do pull-ups in the gym. And this old guy about 70 came up to me and went, "You're the most inspirational person in the gym. I see all these 20-year-olds and you're the only one with good work ethic. And I love watching you work out." No, in a non-pervy way. Yeah. and I said to him, "You know what though? Like, actually, you inspire me." This guy was in his late 70s and he worked out every day. And he went, "It's because I don't let the old man in." And it's his country and Western song. And I went, "That's going to be my inspiration." So that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
It's really funny because I was with a girlfriend last night and went for a walk, and she's ahead of me. You know, she's in her early 50s. And she was saying, "A question you've got to ask Amanda tomorrow," because she does every fitness going. She really looks after herself and everything. But she's suddenly got, like, you know, the bingo wings that you
bingo
get. But
wings,
not just the bingo
yeah.
wings. It's like, she said, the skin texture's changed. She said, even if I tone that muscle up, the skin is changed, you know?
Okay. That's a good place to start. Why don't we do that then?
Yeah.
I'm recognizing some people on there. Thank you so much. The Abs P training, and I see each other on here all the time. So here's a really good place to start. We know that in our 30s, I can't say from the age of 30s, in our 30s until the age that we die, we will start losing muscle. Yeah. It's something called sarcopenia, and it happens mainly because of age and being sedentary, right? So, and everyone's got muscle, whether you can see it or not. We've all got muscle. Muscles surround, it's underneath, even if it's under the layers of whatever, right? So we've all got muscle. Now, if we know that muscle is going to start declining rapidly at about 3 to 5% every decade, we need to do something actively to build or maintain any muscle that's there. Then what happens through perimenopause? The link with the decline in estrogen means that muscle loss is more rapid, and our fat gain is rapid as to it. We increase fat, we decrease muscle to a certain extent. So it doesn't matter, like, so what happens is it becomes harder to keep muscle as we get older. And so there's a couple of things that menopausal women need to do. You cannot change the composition of your body unless you do strength training. And it's that simple.
Well,
your body requires a certain stimulus in order for muscle to grow. Yeah. And that muscle, that stimulus is resistance training that can start off as body weight training, Donna, because a lot of women who've never done it before, that's a really great entry point. But then that sort of, your body adapts to that and it becomes easier. You need to challenge yourself and lift heavy stuff. And then in addition to that, the mechanism to build the muscle, which is protein, if you're going to think about the food you eat, the whole process of breaking down protein and building it back up to build muscle is inhibited with perimenopause, which means that women need to eat more protein and do more strength training to get rid of the bingo wings. I mean, it's not that simple. But essentially, though, we have to focus on strength training. You can't just think that your Zumba or running or whatever
classes. Yeah, I know.
And I'm not knocking them. I actually think there's a place for them, but it's not the thing that's going to change body composition.
Absolutely.
So that's the first one. As far as the skin's concerned, I mean, estrogen's linked with collagen as well. You'll know this more than me, right? So it's intrinsically linked with collagen. It's all over our body. And so the texture of our skin is changing. Part of the conversation I want to have with you today is, and so therefore it's changing. Right? Yeah. So why are we fighting every change that comes our way? Why do we have to believe that every single thing that we do requires changing or fixing?
Yeah. Yeah, right? That's a difficult one, isn't it? Because we're constantly saying, but I'm not as toned as I was, or my belly's not as flat as it was. And why is that not okay? You know? Yeah,
and you can do things to improve those, but why are we trying to turn back the clock? Like, why can't we work with where we are? We're going through probably the biggest physiological and physical change that we'll ever go through in our lifetime.
Yeah.
So why aren't we working with where our body is right now? That's sort of my thing. Like, no.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got into strength training because I stopped running years ago because I hurt my knee, and it's never been the same since. And also, I just found that like you said, the biggest composition change in my body I've only seen happen during strength training, not running, not yoga, not swimming, not anything else that I've done. It's the weights where I've seen a real change in my physique, you know. So I'm
Brilliant.
a real advocate for weight training, and I'm always telling my girlfriends to do it and telling them they've got to up the weights, you know, as soon as they feel comfortable with that weight, they've got to do it. They've got to keep shocking their body to work harder and stuff like that.
And you know what's really great is to hear you saying this as well, because there's so many women believe they can't do it, right? There's so many women believe that it's too complicated. It's a man's thing. It's going to make you big and bulky, or that it's just something they are afraid to do. They feel intimidated by. All of those are really valid reasons to be hesitant.
Absolutely.
But my job and your job now is to say to women, that's not true, and we can help you. And there's an entry level to strength training for anyone.
Yes,
you can start anywhere.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm such a huge proponent of strength training is it helps with some perimenopausal symptoms. It can help the vasomotor symptoms, which you'll have read in the book. Vasomotor symptoms are hot flashes, cold flashes, night sweats. So it can actively reduce those by up to 70%. So why not try that? It can help prevent and reverse osteoporosis. Yeah. One in two women will struggle with that post-menopause. So why not do it for that?
If you're not taking HRT, then this is all the more reason to be doing all this as well, you know, to be looking after your bones.
And it's proven. And they have studies coming out of their butthole showing you how good it is, right? And just for longevity in general, right? So things that can actively help you live longer and healthier. Strength training's up there for anxiety, depression, for reducing cardiovascular disease, for reducing stroke, diabetes, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's so good for you. So do it. Just do it.
Just do it. Yeah. And like you say, like, you can just start really easily at home with just body weight, can't you? Where you haven't even got to have hand weights. You can just be doing your lunges and press ups and, you know,
and I'm a bit of a form sergeant major as well, and you know how important it is. Like, you build the foundation. That's essentially what you do. You start with the foundational exercises, and you build on them when you're ready. And my book's got a 12-week program in as well for anyone who wants to try it.
Yeah, because it's just knowing the poses, what to do. Yeah, so you don't go into the gym and you don't feel silly when you're with all those blokes, you know, in the weights area. You know, you've got to look like you know what you're doing.
Yeah. And the thing is, you can do it at home. And then I often say to women that, like, motivation's usually the hardest thing, right? And nobody wakes up feeling ultra motivated, right? You need to know that don't wait for motivation to happen. Start doing something small, do it often, because then what happens is I bet this has happened to you, Donna. It builds curiosity. And when you start doing stuff and go, oh, I never thought I could do that. Maybe I'll try something else. And it just builds and builds and builds, right? So start small.
Absolutely. And like, you never regret doing some exercise, do you? You never regret it, you know? No.
And even if you just don't feel like it, do a little something, because the endorphins that it raises are like, it's so good for you. But I always say to women, if you've never done strength training, try it for a year. Come back to me in a year, and I literally think you will have changed your life.
Well, I started 9 years ago, because I started after I had my second son. And,
Great.
And I've never stopped, really. Never really stopped, you know. And I either do it at home or I do it at a gym. You know, sometimes I get fed up with the gym and I'll say I'll cancel my membership and I'll just start doing it at home again. But I've just joined up again, actually. I'm going to start again tomorrow at the gym, so I need a bit more motivation.
And that can be it for someone. If you can't build up the motivation to do it by yourself, buddy up. If you can't find a buddy, go to a gym. If you financially can afford it, not everybody can, work with a trainer for 2 or 3 times just to get you in the groove, get a program. Just get yourself, just start.
It is, every time you pay for something, well, I do. If I'm paying for it, I feel like I've got to do it. Whereas if I'm
And at the gym,
I'll find something else to do.
And are the gyms open now?
Yeah, gyms are open now.
Oh, so do it then. Yeah.
And the other thing is, like, I know that, you know, at the times, I always find the best time to do my exercise is when I really don't want to do it. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm a bit like you, Amanda. You're probably pretty strong-willed, you know, and you know you can make yourself,
stubborn.
Yeah, stubborn, strong-willed, and I can say even at the worst time, I can go, right, get up, Donna, get over there, do the exercise, because you know you're going to feel better in 40 minutes time, you know. And the other thing I love about strength training is you don't get super sweaty. You haven't got to wash your hair every time, you know. I mean, I understand if you're doing HIIT training, but if you're just doing nice sets of weights, you're not soaking wet. You know, some women say, I can't do that before work because I've got to go to work, I have a shower. But actually, when you're doing weights, you don't get that.
You don't need to. No, exactly. Yeah. And you know, in addition to that, like if all of us just moved more, we were talking about sarcopenia, about muscle loss. Walking is one of the things that can help sort of like stop that in its tracks, and it can stop it because movement is what is gonna like make the nutrients flow around the body. It stimulates us at a cellular level, obviously gets the endorphins going. And so as well as like asking women to sort of like work out 3 or 4 times a week, 3 times a week, if, you know, like minimum, move every day. And if you're stuck in the house, get up every hour, walk around. It just is so good for you. And I think that we've forgotten how to be a movie type of nation, right? Yeah, you know, we're not going to work. We're stuck in lockdown. It's hard. I know it's hard. I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, I love walking, and I am one of those people. I get off the stop earlier so I can walk more. When I was younger, I used to get up early so I could walk to the next village to get the train, even though I live next door to the train station. You know, like, because I just find it so mentally. I love walking. I love looking around. I like time to think. When you know, you never really get that time otherwise. It's you kind of, even though you're doing something, it is your kind of, you know, downtime in a way.
I'm a big fan of it. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah, like have something to motivate you, and it's almost a form of meditation. And especially through perimenopause and menopause, our connection with our stress response, so cortisol. I write about this in the book quite a lot. Yeah. Estrogen is intrinsically linked with cortisol, and so women find that people who've never been stressed before, all of a sudden are like blowing their top. It's like the worst PMS, but it has no type of rhyme nor reason to it. It's unpredictable. And so one of the things I'll say to women in perimenopause is, as well as me promoting movement, I really want to promote stress management. And I don't just mean telling you to calm down, like look for it actively. Mindfulness, going for the walks, sitting and doing breathing. It's absolutely necessary. Yes. And it's necessary because your cortisol levels will rise. We know they're going to, right? So you have to look at ways to bring them down. Over exercising can do that. If you're like doing HIIT classes after HIIT classes every day, you might be absolutely exhausted. Women struggle with really chronic fatigue in perimenopause.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're not on HRT at the moment, are you, Amanda?
Oh, this is a good conversation.
I was listening to the podcast with Dr. Menopause, and I thought it was brilliant. And you know, I'm very up and down at the minute, and I'll talk to you about that. But you've had you've been like this, haven't you? You've tried everything.
Yes. So despite being a huge promoter, I should say, I can't get my fucking words out. Sorry, that's like menopause for you. Of HRT, I have never done well on it, and it's likely to be the progesterone, but even down to like the Menopaulyse coil that women have, I couldn't do that. It literally, one of my struggles with perimenopause was depression. I'd never had it in my life before. I really struggled with it. I wanted to go on HRT, and I went on it, and I would be on it for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I would have this impending doom over me. I felt like a little Eeyore with my own dark cloud. And but it got to the point where I wasn't suicidal, but I was pretty tired of life.
Think about that, yeah.
And so it was worse being on HRT for me than not being on it. And despite the other symptoms I had, I couldn't keep going. And I went through different types of HRT. I had a really good doctor. I've never had the medical issues that a lot of women have. And so we went through everything that's out there. And in fact, we would do one. I would see how I was. I would take a break and try something else. And nothing seems to have worked for me. So I had to sort of like do without it. Yeah. In between, I've gone on antidepressants when I've really struggled.
Yeah.
Trying to remove the stigma from that, because women.
I mean, I've been on a fluoxetine for I reckon about 18 years, because I used to have such bad PMT. It's always running my sister, my mum, very similar. I mean, terrible rages and, you know, anger and just terrible time of it. And thank God we found that tablet, because that works. That really works, you know. And
that's amazing.
I've been on that for years, you know, and I don't really ever want to come off that.
It's so individualized, and I think that's the thing I would say to women, because when I spoke to Naomi the other day, Dr. Naomi Potter, I had some women text me going, now I'm too scared to go on HRT. And I was like, you should never use somebody else's experience to judge your own. I wanted to go on there and talk to Naomi about the fact that there are always going to be some people that HRT is not the answer for.
Absolutely.
Right? So either because they're like, they can't afford it, they can't tolerate it, or they can't take it for medical reasons, or even personal preference, right? So and what I'm really tired of in the menopause conversation, and my book hopefully echoes this, is that it's so polarized. You've got that I'm only doing the natural thing, or you have to go on HRT. And I'm like, this is bullshit. There's so much happens in the middle. Like the messy middle is where things happen. And in fact, we know that exercise and nutrition are more proven to have an impact on your longevity than anything else. Anything else, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was,
so
I recently went on it. I mean, I'm still, I think what's happened to me is I've just literally stopped it 2 days ago, because so I went on it, but I don't know whether or not I was taking it, but because I'm still regularly bleeding and everything, it may have been a hormone overdose for me, for my body, because I still must be producing estrogen and progesterone, because I'm bleeding every month still. But I went on it because I had that deep sadness. That's kind of sadness. I've had a few hot flushes. Periods are a little bit erratic, but I think maybe looking at it now, maybe I jumped into it too quickly, or I'm not in it enough to warrant that many hormones, putting them into me at the moment. Maybe I need to wait a couple of years. I don't know.
Well, you know, this, I mean, I'm clearly never going to give medical advice because I'm not a doctor. No. And actually what I'm finding on Instagram is there's lots of people stepping out of their lanes doing that, which drives me crazy, I have to say. But what the advice is from the menopause societies is it may take time for your dosage that you're on to work. And so I would just continue to work really closely with your medical professional and sort of like I mean, some women just know straight away and come off, and they're not prepared to wait and see if it gets better, because I think sometimes our guts tell us, you know, that it's not meant to be. And by the end of it with me, I could see the signs. I could see the signs of me. And what happened is I did unopposed estrogen for a while. I mentioned on Dr. Naomi's thing, and then added in the progesterone and just fell down straight away. So we know progesterone intolerance can happen to some women, but the vast majority of women do well on HRT. But if you go on it and it doesn't help you, well, then you need to go back to your medical provider and sort of say, can we try something else? Maybe the dose is too high. Can we lower the dose? Can we increase the dose? You've got to.
There's quite a few options. Yeah, like you say, there are.
There's loads of options. It's individualized. You cannot compare your journey to somebody else's, with not at all. And then in addition to that, I just think it's really important for women to know. And I wrote a post about this the other day and was expecting loads of backlash, and I got most people agreeing with me. And I just said that HRT is not a panacea. And I truly believe that for menopause, if you don't look at the whole picture, big picture, I'm a big picture girl, then you're missing. You can't be sedentary, smoking too much, drinking too much, and having high stress and not dealing with your sleep issues, go on HRT and expecting it to be the magic bullet, because it doesn't work like that.
No,
you got to I think it's like I said, it's like the ultimate jigsaw puzzle. You literally have to go, how's my stress, how's my sleep, how's my work on it all. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that's what I feel like I need to reset a little bit.
Start again, maybe.
I am into my exercise. I think I need to work on that a bit more, and then look at it again if I'm still feeling the same, you know.
And then work closely with your specialist, because I mean that's what they're trained in. And and then I'm all about, like, what can you control? I'm all about, it's your body, your choice. So the choices are, you should have medical advocacy. And a lot of women don't get that, right? They don't get the choice to advocate. Other things you can control is the movement you do, your stress. You can control cortisol by lifestyle changes. You can control your insulin response by lifestyle changes. You can change habits to help with your sleep. There's so many things that you can do that are beneficial, as you know. So it's looking at everything.
Well, you touched the point there about like the cortisol of it. I mean, so many women, they say they get that layer of fat, which I know you touched on in your book, that layer of subcutaneous fat around their middle. And they all say the same thing. I'm not eating anymore, I'm exercising the same, but it's like they can't shift that weight from the middle. And that's all to do with the stress, isn't it? Your body's in a stressful situation, so it clicks onto that.
We can talk about belly fat, right? So first of all, let's normalize belly fat, right? It's like women get belly fat and they go, right, then I'm a failure, I hate myself, I'm gross, I might as well be dead. And I'm just like, oh God. Right. First of all, let's just talk about the physiological changes your body is going through. When estrogen declines and progesterone declines, your fat distribution will change. It's what your body does to adapt. So your body will start holding fat in the belly when it's never done it before. And often one of the things women will say is like, I haven't put on any weight, but all of a sudden I hold it more around the belly. And I'm like, no shit, Sherlock, because that's what happens in perimenopause. So part of me is like, you know that this is going to happen. So it's not fighting it all the time. It's like almost like, okay, so I understand that this is necessary. In addition to that, some belly fat's actually, some fat on your body is actually healthy going through menopause, because our body will try and produce estrogen from the adipose tissue, the fat tissue in your body. It will try and produce some. It's a super smart machine, your body, and we're trying to fight it all the time. And then, you know, so we know that those things are going to happen. In addition to that, women move less, eat more, and we know they eat more because people are terrible at estimating what they eat. Our hunger hormones go whack-a-mole crazy. We're always hungry. We're never satisfied. And so without even realizing, 200 or 300 calories are getting added on every day. And if you're in a calorie surplus, you'll put weight on. And it's sort of, everything sort of does slow down somewhat. It doesn't slow down much, actually, your metabolism, but somewhat. And that can be counteracted by moving more, strength training, which makes you metabolically just more efficient, right? It helps you store glucose in the muscles. And so all of these things are happening. But it's really difficult to say to women that, like, you've put weight on and the thing you need to do to lose weight is eat less calories, because it doesn't sound very nice. It doesn't sound very empathetic. But that's right. You can't argue with me, because you're actually arguing with nutritional science, right? Because nutritional science is based on the theory of energy balance, and energy balance is essentially the calories that you burn just to survive, just to survive. And then anything that you consume obviously fuels that, right? And so it becomes a really fine balance. And that's where all of these dodgy menopause diet books have come into play. I was seeing one the other day of this woman, don't know her name, Midlife Kitchen or something, and she suggests having these light days of 800 calories and moderate days other days. And I'm like, why? Yeah. Why do we insist on starving women? So we talk about cortisol. You wake up in the morning, your cortisol levels are higher. You decide you're going to exercise and not eat. So let's just add some more cortisol into that because it's a stress inducer. And then let's just stay hungry till 2 or 3 o'clock. Well, all of a sudden your perimenopausal body's like, I'm stressed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And what does too much cortisol do to the body? Instinctively gets stored as belly fat.
Yeah.
That's what it does. Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm like I want to say to women, we need to learn to nourish our body and fuel it for the exercise we're going to do. We need to learn to not starve it, but learn to not overeat all the time. It's a really fine game, but I hope that in the book, I describe it really well. And I give women small things that they can try, to take control of it. And I'll tell you right now, I put weight on in perimenopause and I lost it. And there was no magic tricks at all. I ate in a calorie deficit. I increased my protein. I ate more fiber, all the things that fill you up, and I did more strength training.
Yeah. And you're a 3 meals a day girl, are you? Without snacking, or do you
like literally, I use my body as like a barometer. Like, so typically I eat breakfast, but some mornings I wake up and I'm like not hungry, so I don't eat, but usually a human body needs to eat every 3 to 4 hours, using and understanding hunger cues, knowing that if you have a meal that satisfies you at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you eat until you've eaten just enough and not too much, you probably won't need to eat again until noon, right? Yeah. And so usually most people can get by with eating 3 to 4 meals a day. One of those meals might be a snack, and that's sort of what I do. Yeah. But I don't add restrictions. And this is what I'm my message to women is that
just being in tune. It's being in tune with your body, isn't it?
Oh, and that takes time. It's hard, right? I'm making you do the hard work. I'm not saying to you, I need you to starve yourself and have 1,200 calories. I'm saying to you, tune into your body and learn what hunger feels like. Yeah. And my message is about adding benefits to the body instead of restriction. And I'm really tired of diet culture that says to women, you need to cut out sugar, cut out gluten, cut out dairy, cut out fucking breathing. It's ridiculous. It's got to the point where I'm just like, you've given us nothing. Left me like a raw carrot. Yeah. Instead, I want women to add things that are going to benefit them, right? But the type of stuff I do takes time. Yeah. And we're all looking for a quick fix, right?
Yeah. And then the other thing I want to touch on is fat. Loads of women I know are scared of eating fat. I've got friends that will not eat an avocado because they're so used to the old fashioned, information.
Like low fat.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh my God, I eat probably half an avocado every day.
Good.
Cottage cheese and, full fat milk, butter. I have all those things. And the way I look at it is like it's brain fat. I don't think of it as fat for my body. I think of that as like it's oil in my joints, oil in my my bones. I kind of look at it that way.
Yeah, nobody ever got fat from eating too much avocado or fruit or bananas. Honestly, the problem with our society and our culture, just as it is right now, is hyper palatable, overly processed foods. Yes. And I do not ever put morality on food and say this is good, this is bad. But if you are consuming food that is made to contain too much added sugar, too much added fat, too much added salt, it's nutritionally not very dense. And so it doesn't satisfy us, but it satisfies our emotional side of our brain and it makes us want to eat more. Yeah. And so what I would say to people is if you want to eat things like that, fine, but it shouldn't be for every meal. Look to get as many whole foods as you can. Try and feed yourself with, because whole foods have so many nutrients in them that are removed from the over processing side of these the fast foods, I suppose, right? And so this is when people get down to the minutiae. They're saying, oh, you eat a half an avocado, that's what's making you that's going to make you fat. And it's like, oh, really? Like, it's just like, let's just stop looking at other people.
I give up with people then, because I just say like, oh, I can't even bother explaining, because it's just like, they won't believe me. They're not going to change it. You know,
well,
I eat loads of dark chocolate. You know, I have dark chocolate and I eat nuts, loads of nuts. That's my treat, you know, dark chocolate and nuts, because I've got a real sweet tooth. But I've worked out that rather than having a Twix or a Mars bar, I'm going to have dark chocolate. The calories are better, nutritionally it's better, you know. So I can still have sweet things, but just change it slightly, isn't it?
That's brilliant. It's a really great point, actually, Donna, because, you know, a lot of people will grab and they want instant satisfaction. So they'll have like the Snickers or whatever, like, the Twix, because it's handy. And so replacing those type of things with good, different habits, like, it's just being mindful about your food, right? So it's saying, you know, I'm hungry, I'm going to go for a Twix, and instead say, I'm going to replace that with 8 almonds, 5 squares of chocolate, and a bottle of kombucha. I don't know, whatever floats your boat. But it's like just making different choices. And literally the trick to that is being mindful instead of mindless about your eating.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it.
I mean, I think there's no lie about it. It does take being organised to be healthy, I think. You know, like I don't stop thinking about food, because I'm constantly thinking, have I got the right stuff in? Because I know that if I haven't got the right stuff in, I'm going to eat bad, you know, all the time. You know, I'm always making my own packed lunches. I cook extra dinners for my packed lunch, you know, because you've got to be really prepared. And I can't stress that enough to people. You've got to like overcook those healthy meals, put them in the freezer for the next day, you know, because it's so easy to just make up any old rubbish if you haven't got the shopping in, you know.
And I always think as well, meal prep can be simple. It doesn't have to be like complicated. It can sometimes be just prepping the meal for the meal that you have your most problem with. So sometimes that's lunch, because we don't know what we're going to have. So think of 5 things. You only need to think of like 5 things, because it's only for the week, right? And then and you can eat the same thing every day if you want to. It doesn't matter, right?
Well, that is what I find really easy, actually. And I started doing that probably beginning of lockdown. I started having the same lunches every day, because I was fed up with thinking about it, worrying I wasn't eating well. So I thought, well, I'm gonna have the same. And I do like I was doing a snack plate with, you know, avocado, some falafels, you know, some salad stuff, and I do that I enjoyed it. I don't know, we've got this mentality that we have to eat something different every meal, don't we? Exactly.
And
experts, they do eat very similar meals all week, because they don't want that stress of worrying about, you know, what they've got to eat or the nutritional value of it.
I know something like, for somebody like me, when I'm at home, I always have like a bag of greens in, whatever that is, like mixed greens. I cook some grains, and it doesn't matter what those grains are, like wild rice, farro. Like, I have a little bit more choice when I'm in the US, I think. And then tomatoes, cucumber, peppers, I have them all chopped up ready, and then I stick them in a big bowl with a tin of tuna fish. There you go. Done. So nice.
I've had a really similar thing in the fridge for 3 days for me. I've just finished it off today, actually.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple. That's it. Well, we've got quite a few questions to ask. Let me just have a look, because Robin sent them through, didn't she? I'm just going to open up my. Oh yeah. So brain fog and memory issues was one of them. What do you suggest for that, nutritionally or exercise wise? Is there anything that you found helps with that?
I mean, likely the best thing for it is hormone therapy, and the reason it is because estrogen is one of the hormones that crosses the blood-brain barrier. We hear this all the time, right? And so that's likely the reason that women start like forgetting words, or they may get depression, anxiety, neurological stuff. I mean, we hear this all the time. Exercise is a great tool for that, because it actually promotes the hormones in your brain that are like beneficial for you. So I definitely like the endorphins, and so get out walking. Like, anyone can go out and walk, right? Like, well, I'm saying, I apologize for anyone. I wasn't being ableist there. Most people can get outside and walk. Being in nature has been shown to improve our mind, even without movement, right? Just being outside, it works, right?
one of the things I do is go in the garden barefoot, just my bare feet on the grass. Honestly, that just gives me such a calming, you know, experience. And it's such a minor thing, and I sound like a hippie when I say it, but it is barefoot on the grass, you know.
Yeah, do that. And another thing to know is that proteins can cross the blood-brain barrier as well. And so you know, when you think of whey powder, like if you're making a protein shake, that's protein is broken down into lots of little amino acids, and one of them is called leucine, and that's in the whey powder. That crosses the blood-brain barrier, and it's also in lots of food. It's in dairy and in some meats and fish. And so including protein in your diet, and particularly this leucine, really great way to sort of like get nutrients to the brain. And so that can help with brain fog somewhat as well. You know, so it's again, lifestyle things, decluttering the brain, like mindfulness training, actually like just sitting down and breathing. All can be really helpful. But I'm going to say, probably to every single question you're going to ask, I'm going to probably say HRT, because they're all estrogen, they're all estrogen type related, but there's other things you can try too.
Yeah. What about the, you know, someone's saying hot legs and feet at night, but also I've got loads of friends who've got restless legs. Now, is that a lack of estrogen and stuff? Is that?
It's definitely related. It's definitely related to menopause. It could be part of the progesterone story, and this is just an assumption by me. I don't know for sure, because estrogen. So, estrogen like declines in that fluctuating manner, and progesterone sort of goes down quite quickly, because the reason we have progesterone is to prepare the womb for pregnancy, and we don't need it, so it just goes. It's like a calming hormone. It's like estrogen is our happy hormone, which is when it goes, a lot of women get like depression, and progesterone is more of a calming hormone. And so when that starts to go down, some women will get like increased anxiety, insomnia can happen, and then the restless leg syndrome as well can be potentially linked to that. One thing women can try, two things is a little bit of movement before bedtime, because when you move, you get blood and nutrients to the area, and that can be helpful. Taking a magnesium before bedtime as well can really help. And in fact, a lot of the minerals are associated with restless leg syndrome anyway, outside of menopause. So that's like your zinc as well. And so, but I think that definitely try magnesium. It's going to take 2 or 3 weeks at least until it starts to make a difference. It can also be helpful for migraines and headaches as well. And a lot of women are deficient in magnesium anyway. So just take it.
In fact, me and quite a few of my girlfriends, we all take this one brand, and it's called Magnesium OK. And I swear, every time we run out of that, you can feel a dramatic change. You know, and to take it at bedtime. The other thing people don't realise is you take it at bedtime, not in the day, because it can give you a good sleep and stuff as well.
Oh yeah, it can be part of the sleep hygiene. If you're struggling with insomnia, taking a magnesium before bed can be helpful. A lot of people take magnesium and get like the runs because it can be harsh on the stomach. And magnesium comes in many different forms, and the different forms of magnesium can confuse women. And literally, it's just how it's absorbed in the body. So like a magnesium glycinate can be more easily absorbed in the body. So that's like the smallest size molecule. Doesn't matter what magnesium you take, but if you're trying one and it's upsetting your tummy, look for glycinate, and it might just be easier. It might not have you running to the toilet.
And you can take it in powder form, can't you? In water as well. So that's
and you can have a bath, and you can have a bath in Epsom salts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, brilliant. Somebody's saying here. Hold on a minute. Let's have a look. How can they? Well, we spoke about that. How can they? Because they can't take HRT because they've had breast cancer in the family. How can they alleviate their symptoms? But I think we've probably covered a lot of that with the nutrition.
But I would also say though, right? So a lot of women who have had breast cancer and are taking the tamoxifen or the estrogen inhibiting drugs usually can't take HRT, but not every breast cancer means you can't take HRT. You have to work with your hormone specialist and your menopause specialist and your oncologist, because some breast cancers are treated with HRT. right? There's a brilliant book called Estrogen Matters, and I recommend it to everyone. It's very reassuring. It talks about estrogen as a really important protective drug in the woman's body. I mean, it literally is in every estrogen receptors are riddled all over our body. So when we hear women have got joint pain, yeah, because you've got estrogen receptors there. Brain fog, yeah, because you've got estrogen receptors there. Around your heart, in your gut, everywhere, right? And so that's why the symptoms are so crazy. And so I've just gone off on a tangent, but for women who know they cannot take it, and they're doing all of the lifestyle things, and some of them take a long time to like show like a positive benefit, there still are pharmaceutical things that you can do if your quality of life is impacted. Like, so for example, the most common thing I hear from women who are breast cancer survivors is vasomotor symptoms. And vasomotor symptoms are hot flashes, night sweats, cold sweats. Those are the ones. I've already said strength training can improve them by up to 70% potentially. So do that. But then there are some antidepressants, anti-seizure drugs that have got off-label benefits that can literally eliminate all of those. And so it has to be a consideration for you. If you're literally not sleeping at night, everything else is going to go to pot. Don't suffer. Yeah. Go and see your doctor because they can help you. It isn't always a hormonal solution.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what else. Yes, weight gain, bloated, itchy skin, migraines. You was a big migraine sufferer, weren't you?
Yes, and actually,
you still are?
No, I haven't.
Wow.
As soon as I go on hormone therapy, I get depression and I get migraines. And the migraines are the things that cripple me. I actually really manage my migraines well with stress. They were hormonal. And so I needed something. I actually went on migraine medication and I don't need to go on that anymore. Literally, you can do lots of lifestyle things, but if it's still a struggle for you, there is migraine medication you can take as well. But magnesium is part of the puzzle for me, and exercise as well, and stress management. But usually it's a hormonal thing, and usually post-menopause is when most women see their migraines go. Like it's sort of one of the symptoms that most women see and managed quite well post-menopause.
Right, so that's one benefit. The one benefit.
I know there is a lot of, the thing is there are a lot of the symptoms die down, but some women continue to have some symptoms. So there's no point saying that the symptoms all disappear because they don't. But there's something that
my mum's 68 and she still gets hot flushes.
Yeah, and I hear that all the time. Some women still get depression. A lot of women have got vaginal atrophy. Like, it's a thing, right? We have to be aware. But there's also a sense of calm that comes over women as well, because when those hormones start fluctuating, it's like, it's like a relief, and then we're just like this to everyone. Like, it's like we're not going through that again for everyone, and we're just not going to put up with your crap anymore. Definitely.
Okay, so what if you were going to give three nutritional tips, what would they be?
Okay, I did lose you a little bit. Yeah, we froze.
Three nutritional tips, what would they be? Up the protein?
Okay. Yeah, so most women don't eat enough protein, right? And if you're only plant-based, it's quite difficult to get the type of protein I'm talking about, but a lot of plants and legumes and stuff contain protein. So don't freak out about this number, but I have to supplement, otherwise I can't eat enough protein. So I would say that you should aim for about 100 grams of protein a day. If that was a piece of chicken, it would be a palm size of chicken 4 times a day, right? I can't do it. So what I do is I personally will have protein at lunchtime, a can of tuna, protein at my evening meal. It tends to be fish. I'm not a big meat eater, but I will have chicken. And then in addition to that, like say my porridge, I stick in some protein powder. I just stir it in. It actually makes it really creamy. And so like I supplement that way. And the Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, all of those things, really great. Look for protein. Make sure you eat enough fiber, and you can do that easily with eating lots of veggies. So more people need to eat more plants. We don't eat enough. Like I don't think people need to go completely plant-based. If you like if you don't want to, there's no need for any extremes, but definitely increase the plants and stay hydrated.
Yeah, water, more water, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of your top tips, actually, which is what me and a good friend of mine, Kay, do. We you know, we've got these water bottles, and everyone takes mickey out of us because we've always got our water bottle with us wherever we go.
Yeah, yeah.
But it is buying a water bottle, spending some money on a really nice water bottle that you love, so you will carry it around with you.
Yeah, that's what I say. Like I can't drink out of things with straws or that are a particular material. Like I know it's really, I sound like a tall fanny, but find a water bottle that you love. Yeah. And use your thirst cues. I mean, often women will, I say your hunger hormones get out of whack during perimenopause. And so the first sign of hunger, women will eat. And I'll say, why don't you have a drink of water? Because often thirst can sort of like be masked as well. So using just being thirsty to know when to drink. You don't need any big cues. You don't have to look to drink a certain amount, but you probably aren't drinking enough. A lot of women are dehydrated, and it'll help with your skin. You can tell them, Donna.
God, it so will. Okay, so that's protein, fiber, and drink more water. And then 3 exercise tips. If somebody's, hasn't got loads of time, what do you suggest main thing to do?
Yeah. Okay. So move every day. And I'm literally on about like get outside and walk 5-10 minutes, keep adding it on, like just get up and move. It'll really benefit you. Think about introducing strength training into your life, and think small, right? Everyone's got to start somewhere. It can be 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. And ideally, you work 3 times a week for half an hour. That would be enough. That's all I do. Yeah. Like you don't really need much more than that, right? So think about introducing strength training because it's so beneficial for you. And there's one in my book, and I have loads on my Instagram. I post stuff all the time. Like try some of the shit. Yeah, I always try and post something that is accessible to most people, right? And then rest. Prioritizing your rest, right? So we don't do that as women. We're on the go all the time, and we'll just push through that fatigue. And I'm saying to you, when you've got that fatigue that's like bone deep and it's exhausting, guess what you need to do?
Yeah.
Rest, right? Yeah.
Okay, that's brilliant. And just a quick little one on makeup. Are you a makeup fan?
Right, I'm rubbish, right? So
you wear makeup.
I do. So I'm all about like the inside out, but this is what I started doing because 3 years ago, a friend who's a dermatologist made me do vitamin C in the morning and sunscreen. And then and I use CeraVe to wash my face. I'm really good at doing those 3 things. And then on the evening, I use CeraVe again on my face, and I use a Retin-A. And I've been doing that for 3 years, and they're the only products I use. And then I use a tinted moisturizer, and then that thing wherever it went, that stick. This is like a mini one that I bought to travel with. I love it. So I'm into sticks. I'm like,
can do everything.
And I do love a bit of red lippy, and I never not wear mascara. I love my mascara. So, but I'm happy to get tips because, I don't know. Like I don't like to look like I'm wearing a lot of makeup, but I don't like to have no makeup on.
Look.
And I'm
really hard to create.
And I'm really lazy. Like I'm all about like, what's the quickest way I can make my face look except.
Oh, you look lovely. Next time we'll do
makeup. What do you recommend for me? What would you use?
Well, exactly what you're saying. A tinted moisturizer. You've got really clear skin, so a nice tinted moisturizer. You don't want a heavy foundation. I love any convertible products so that you can use as a lip, cheek, and eyes. I love cream products. I'm really into because I like that sort of dewiness.
I never use matte. No, I've stopped using. I've stopped using matte makeup. Yeah,
absolutely. So the older we get, the glossier the better.
And I'm a fan, I don't know if I've got any, I'm a fan of eyeliner. I like kohl eyeliner. And with my color eyes, which are the same as yours, I love purple and green.
Purple's great on hazel eyes, yeah.
Well, no, mine are blue-green. You can't really see. They're like a blue, same as yours, I think,
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
So that's it, yeah.
Oh, well, that was nearly an hour, Amanda, so that's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. And we had a good crowd as well, and I hope it was helpful. And I think the message that I believe myself. All right. So I believe myself to be a menopause ally, like advocate for us. I want women to know that it's not the end. It feels like the end. And you've been there. You've been in floods of tears. You're exhausted. You're miserable. And I've been there too. And it's not a nice place to be. I want women to know that there's hope at the end, right? Yeah. There's things you can do. And even if it doesn't feel like they're making a difference, keep doing them, because you're literally setting yourself up for success as you age, right? Yeah. You see these women that are 40, they're like 17, 80-year-olds still doing weight training, still looking fantastic. I'm going to be one of them. So are you.
And me. I'm in your club.
So people are asking about my book. If you just go to my profile,
and then we'll put the details down afterwards.
Okay, and then go in the link. In the link there is a link to actually the protein powder I use and my book. Everything's in there.
Yeah, it's superb. Oh, I hope you get loads of sales after this, because it's well worth it. It's like the menopause Bible.
Thank you.
Living well as we get older. That's all we want.
I want it to be the type of book that you read through once quickly, and then you go, oh, what was it Amanda said about doing better sleep thing? And then it's a go-to. You're going to go back and forth to it. Yeah.
Really is. Yeah.
Oh,
there you go. So great tip.
There's so much. Yeah, this is great. I loved it. No, it's not too late.
Well, any questions anybody else got, they can put them down below and we'll try and answer them, can't we? We can sort of jump in and answer any if you've got any extra questions. But
yeah, and I'll pop back like tomorrow and I'll go and answer stuff, or tag me and I'll answer as well. Thank you for having me on, Donna. It's so great to connect. I want one of your towels. I'm going to get one. Where do I get it from?
I'll send you one. Our Facebook.
Look at me getting freebies. Oh yes. You're the talk of Canada. I have friends in Canada that want your face cloths.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, we have to talk business. I'll email you. I'll send you a bundle. You can take it back in case.
Yeah, I'll do that. But anyway, thank you so much. It was so great to chat. And it was so nice to see the comments as well. And stay positive, ladies.
Absolutely. Thanks, Amanda. Take care.
Bye. Take care, everyone. Bye.